What if every F1 driver had exactly the same car? Would Lewis Hamilton be a 7-time world champion? Would the sport be more enjoyable? But more importantly, would Ferrari still make strategy errors every race, costing them race wins and eventually a championship? Well, we are going to find out who the best driver is in F1 22 with equal machinery. So I'll be adding an 11th team, and the way I'm going to do this is retire every single race. But of course there's one more spot open, so who else will take that seat?
Nico Hülkenberg.
It's a full race calendar including the sprint races, but I put it on short qualifying just so I could see who's on pole position every race. Bahrain is the first race of the season, and in the short qualifying that we had, Max Verstappen takes the first pole position. What a start that is for him. Leclerc could only manage P2 and Lando Norris sneaking into the top 3. And Max Verstappen managed to follow up his pole with a race win, so race number 1 done, and the world champion already has a win on the board. What a start for Verstappen. Yeah, I've just realised how long 22 races might take, so I'm going to make sure to go through this pretty fast so you guys don't get too bored. In Saudi Arabia, Max Verstappen followed up his opening race with another pole position and another race win. Well, let's make it 3 out of 3 because he did it in Australia as well. That's 3 poles and 3 race wins. Is there anybody that's going to stop Max Verstappen? Finally, we have a new pole sitter as Charles Leclerc begins to fight with Max Verstappen, but no need to worry, Verstappen fans, as it is a sprint weekend and Verstappen got full points and pole position for Sunday's race. In the end though, it was Charles Leclerc who got the better of Verstappen, and also the Mercedes boys as well, as you see Lewis Hamilton and George Russell getting on the podium ahead of Verstappen. Here is a quick look at the Drivers' Championship after 4 races. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc traded victories in Miami and in Spain, and then in Monaco we have a new race winner with George Russell finally getting onto the top step of the podium. Here are the current driver and constructors championships after racing around the streets of Monte Carlo. After doing this for a while, I eventually found a glitch in F1 22. Would you believe it? Of course you would. It's an EA game. But as you can see, everybody is on the soft tyre. But as we start the race, as I retire, ignore the drive-through penalty, but as I retire, everybody tyres switch. They go straight from the red soft tyre to the white hard tyre. So, yeah, there's a glitch in the game. If you retire right at the start, everybody's tyres just magically change. Anyway, Max Verstappen was able to claim the victory in Baku. No tyre failure happened this time. But as we move on to Canada, we'll see a new pole sitter in Lando Norris. So finally, someone other than Verstappen and Leclerc on pole, but it didn't matter as George Russell went to win his 2nd race of the season. But normality was resumed as we returned to Silverstone, Verstappen upsetting the home crowd and taking another race victory. Charles Leclerc began his comeback on Max Verstappen with back-to-back wins, but it didn't last long as Verstappen took the top step of the podium once again in Hungary. Is there anybody that's going to stop the current world champion from becoming a 2-time world champion? I think the only person that could do it is Charles Leclerc and Ferrari, but we know how good Ferrari are at screwing up world championships. Carlos Sainz decided to show up and get a pole position, but yeah, Ferrari's strategy isn't the best, which means it's another Verstappen victory. You know what? Make that 2 more Verstappen victories as he won again. So, yeah, I think by now you realise Max Verstappen is running away with this World Championship. George Russell continued on his good form by getting another victory in this season. Lewis Hamilton yet to get a race win or a pole position. So, not looking too great for him. Charles Leclerc probably needs to win every single race at the end of this season in order to win the World Drivers' Championship, and he starts off well in Singapore, but here's Verstappen, who wins, and wins again. basically securing him the World Drivers' Championship. But Charles Leclerc still gets another victory in Mexico, showing that he is still fighting for race wins. But yeah, the title is pretty much secured. The season ended with Charles Leclerc picking up a victory in Brazil, and then the reigning world champion and the new world champion for 2022, Max Verstappen, winning again in Abu Dhabi to round off a fabulous season for him. If we come and have a look at the constructors' standings, you can see Red Bull also took the victory there, with Ferrari in P2 and Mercedes unable to overtake Ferrari. Thanks to a fantastic season from Charles Leclerc. If you look at it in a whole, Mercedes drivers were very, very consistent. They were constantly getting P3, P4, P2, P4, and Ferrari just had Charles Leclerc picking up the points and Carlos Sainz struggling a lot. And if you go and have a look at the drivers' standings, you would see exactly that, with Verstappen winning by quite some distance in the end from Leclerc, who was just too much to handle, and those two were really just in a league of their own. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton coming home in P3 and P4, and although Hamilton didn't win a single race, he still got quite a decent amount of points. I mean, in the end, he's only, what, 54 points behind his teammate? So, not too bad of a season for him, but obviously very disappointing that neither of them could be in the fight for the championship. I was quite surprised, actually, that it was just Verstappen and Leclerc. I was expecting more of a 5-6-way fight. But nope, it was just Verstappen and Leclerc in the title hunt. Lando Norris takes home P5, Alonso P6, and then Perez, Bottas and Sainz down there in 7th, 8th and 9th. And Perez and Sainz were really, really disappointed this season. If we have a look at the bottom of the table, you can see Nico Hülkenberg actually did a fantastic job to get P14. And he was the only one scoring points for our constructors. He made sure we did not finish last, as Williams only picked up 10 points thanks to Alex Albon. And you can see 4 drivers not picking up points, one being ourselves, but Nicholas Latifi, Guan Yu Zhou and Mick Schumacher. I feel like that was kind of expected though, because their ratings are very low, especially Latifi and Guan Yu Zhou. I thought maybe Schumacher might get a couple, but in the end he got 0. As expected, Max Verstappen took home the most pole positions, with only 5 drivers on the grid getting a pole position, Lewis Hamilton not being one of them. Verstappen taking 10, Leclerc 7, Lando Norris gets 3, Carlos Sainz with 1, and George Russell getting 1 as well. And if we go over and have a look at the race wins, you can see that only 3 drivers managed to actually get a race win this season. So although Lando Norris got 3 pole positions, he couldn't get a race win. I know he got a couple of P2s, P3s, but he was unable to win a race. So still another year before he'll be able to do that. Verstappen takes home 12 race wins, Charles Leclerc with 7, and George Russell with 3. So not as spread out as I thought. It was very much Verstappen, Leclerc dominating the field. Hamilton was pretty much nowhere to be seen, and George Russell popping up here and there. Well, anyway, if you guys did enjoy this video and you want to see more on my channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment if you are new. I appreciate all the support that I'm having, as these videos do take a while to make and edit. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace.